Hey there, multi-prep teachers. You know how professional development never seems to quite get to what we need? It's like, great idea, but how do I make this work when I have 3+ preps to juggle? That's exactly why I created the Simplify Your Preps Collective. It's a free Facebook group built just for teachers like you, where we share tips, resources, and real talk about making multi-prep teaching less overwhelming and more doable. Sound like your kind of space? Head to kristenmasick.com/collective and join us today. Let's simplify together. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about some tips on maximizing your productivity, especially as you are heading into the school year. From curriculum mapping to optimizing planning periods, delegating tasks, and finding that work-life blend. I've got your back. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and let's dive into these game-changing strategies. Welcome to the Secondary Teacher Podcast, the podcast for middle and high school teachers juggling multiple preps to get the strategies to reduce overwhelm so that you don't have to choose between being an effective teacher and prioritizing important relationships. I'm your host, Kristen Masick, a 10-year high school engineering teacher, former middle school assistant principal, and teacher coach. Every week, we will discuss strategies, systems, and time-saving tips to help you not only survive but thrive as a multiple prep teacher. Jared and I were talking today, and we were realizing that we really only have 3 more weeks left of summer because we are back as teachers in 3 weeks and our students come back the following week. You may not be ready or in the right frame of mind to be listening about maximizing your productivity, but you can listen to it now or save it until school year starts. But I really wanted to get ahead of the game in case you are already going back, because I know some of you are back at the end of July. And so I want to be going over some of these things to help maximize your productivity, because overwhelm is one of those things that leads to burnout the fastest, because you do have a lot on your plate. Your workload is overwhelming, and unfortunately more things are getting piled on you. We're going to be talking about some things to help you just start off the school year on the right foot. The first would be my number one thing that I'm always talking about is having a curriculum map so you know where you are going. You will change this. It's totally okay. It's going to be fine. When you need to make adjustments, know that that is going to happen, but having that map for each one of your preps is really going to cut down on that overwhelm because you know where you are going next. Your pacing might shift. It will shift, but know that what is coming ahead is really going to help ease your mind and know where you're moving from here, know what you're doing each day. That's going to be your number one. Also, by having your curriculum apps, you can look at all of them for all of your preps and make adjustments to help ease your overwhelm. I've mentioned before to make sure that you're not having due dates on the same day so that you're spreading out your grading, you're spreading out your assessments, you're spreading out your direct instruction. Just things that you can do so that things don't all land on the same day is really going to help you manage and lessen that workload whenever possible when it comes to the teaching aspect of your job. The next thing that you're going to want to do to maximize your productivity is to optimize your planning periods. And we're talking about not just your possible assigned planning period during the school day, but even those prep periods or that planning time before, after school, whenever you're going to be able to plan, figuring out what you're going to do and when you're going to do those in each of those of the day is really going to help out. Knowing your season of life, also knowing your energy level, knowing whether or not you are going to be more productive in the morning, or is that after school, or is it actually during your prep period, will really be beneficial. Also, when you're planning out those prep periods and what you're going to be doing in those prep periods, to make sure that you can hopefully start and end a task within that planning period is going to allow you to feel the most sense of accomplishment And the trick to doing that is sometimes you might need to break down a task to be a smaller task. So instead of saying that you want to plan an entire lesson, maybe you're actually just going to use this planning period to work on the review questions or the exit ticket, just one part of that lesson instead of the entire thing, in case you're not able to sit down and do it from beginning to end. If you know that you have other things on your plate, breaking it down into smaller pieces will really make you be able to get more done. And then also, I've found that if I can do something small that takes very little time, like 5-10 minutes, then I kind of get that dopamine, adrenaline rush that, hey, I did something, and then it keeps me going, but it sustains me. Really focusing on those little things has really helped to optimize planning periods. The other way to optimize your planning periods is to limit your distractions, whether that is putting your phone aside or you're setting a Pomodoro timer, so 20 minutes, and then you do get to be on your phone for 5 minutes and then go back to work for 20 minutes. My other biggest distraction was colleagues. Going down and collecting my mail or doing any of that during my planning period was not the time to do it. It actually was better if I could do that after school or before school, especially before school when it was kind of like really busy in the front office and nobody had the time to talk to me. Was probably the best time for me to go and check my mailbox. But just think about when you would like to do that to limit your conversations if you have things on your list. Now, there's going to be times where that is going to be an outlet for you, but make sure that you're planning for that and you are knowing that more likely than not, you're going to spend longer in your bestie's classroom. The next thing that I want you to think about is delegating your tasks and building systems. When you are going into this next school year, think about some systems that maybe you can build in that allow for students to do things for you instead of you having to do everything for them. Are there ways they can even grade their work before they give it to you? Are there ways that they can prep the lab or get things out for the next class or when they're doing cleanup? Just think of ways, creative ways, where they can do things for you to make it so that you are not having to do them. A lot of times I will ask people to reflect on what are the things that are wasting, or what do you feel like is wasting the most time, what you're spending the most time on. And that's the first thing to tackle when it comes to a routine or a system or procedure that you need to put in place. Because if you don't like doing it, but you're always doing it, that is something that you need to figure out a way to hand that over to students or a teacher's assistant, student teacher assistant, whatever you can do. The other brilliant thing that I had heard from another teacher was you can delegate not only to your students, and maybe you have a student teacher assistant, we always call them TAs, but specifically a student who has been assigned as a helper in some way. If you don't have someone in your class that's doing that, more often than not, the library, the front office, they always have students. And I will tell you this, from being an administrator in the front office, we had a TA, we had two every single class period of the entire day in the front office, and they were students just sitting there waiting to do something. Utilize them. Have them run errands for you. Your front office or counseling office, wherever these students are being housed, will appreciate you giving them assignments to do so that they are not just sitting there twiddling their thumbs or playing on their phones the whole time. And finally, my last thing to help you with your productivity that's helped me the most, and probably the most important, is to figure out a way to take care of yourself. Whether that's self-care or figuring out how you can do that work-life blend. How can you have this sense of balance where you're still feeling like a human, still being a teacher, but also being a part of your family, whatever role you play in your family will help out a lot, because you are looking forward to those other things. Most people don't look forward to grading, but one thing that I have adopted is I love to read, and so it's been my incentive that when I can get done with things, then I can finally have a break and I can set everything aside and I can read. Being a human and allowing myself to set boundaries so that when I can come home, I can really spend time with my family and not have to worry about working or lesson planning or grading or anything that is really time sensitive that will cause my stress level to increase. As a review, the 4 topics that I hit today when it comes to maximizing your productivity as a multiple prep teacher is first, having a curriculum map for all of your preps. Second, utilizing and optimizing your planning period or your prep period. 3, delegating tasks and building systems. And number 4, self-care. And if today's episode was helpful to you, it could be for others. So make sure you share it on Instagram, is where I hang out the most, at Kristen Massick, KHRSTEN MASSIC. And feel free to send me a DM or even within that post. Let us know what you took away from this episode. Until next week.